Hey y'all, welcome back. It is another absolutely beautiful day out here, especially for mid-January. It's pretty amazing the weather we're having right now. It is cooler than it has been, but it's still very, very nice. Matter of fact, I've already had to come out of my coat, which, by the way, since I've mentioned coat, so many people have asked about this coat. That was actually a gift from my mother-in-law last year at Christmas. And if I'm not mistaken, knowing my mother-in-law, it probably come off of Amazon. So, if you want a coat like that, I guess you can hunt on Amazon and find it. I love it. But I love that style coat. And it is just a single piece coat that kind of looks like two different coats. Anyways, what I'm getting into right now is we're having a new power service come in. It's going to come off of that pole there. They're going to set a power pole right there up on the bank, and then underground it's going to come to a power service that's sitting right here that is going to power this building. Been a ton of questions. What is this building? We will get to that in a later video. We have plans for this building, but we will show all that later on in a future video. But right now, I've got to get the post buried that the power service is going to sit on, the meter and all that. But what I'm going to have to do is set two posts. I need to set one right here and one right here. The meter box is going to be mounted about right here. I need to have them, according to my electrician man, he said make them about 5 foot, 6 foot tall. So, and then I'm going to mount some 2x6s or 2x8s, make a solid faceplate for it all to mount to. But anyways, what I'm going to do today is set the two posts. Pour a little bit of concrete around them and let that be setting up. I don't have the 2x6s yet because I need to use treated, and I don't have any treated 2x6s up here. But I do already have the 6x6. So, anyways, while the concrete's drying for a day or two, that'll give me opportunity to go somewhere and get some 2x6s. So I think one post will be sitting right here, right about in line with the corner of this building. And then he said that I should have it about 4 foot apart. So that's going to put the other post mounted about right there. So that would be standing right at the edge of that window there. That'll be about right. So I'm going to dig that hole first. I don't need to go too deep with them because I am going to have concrete around them. And honestly, it's not holding up a ton of weight or anything. It's not like a building or something. So they're just going to be standing here. So we'll probably go about 2 foot in the ground, maybe just a little bit more. Clean all the loose dirt out. I may need to go a little bit deeper. I didn't go as deep as I thought I did. So I know y'all have heard me say plenty of times that I normally don't use concrete around posts I put in the ground because this red clay, it tamps so well. Well, this is a little different situation. I've only got a 16 foot 6x6 to work with. I'm going to cut it in half. That'll give me 2 8-foot posts. And I need roughly 5 to 6 foot sticking up out of the ground, according to my neighbor out here. So with that being said, this post can only go in the ground just a couple feet. And I feel like no more than what's going to be in the ground That concrete will just give it a lot of extra stability. Let's see what we got. 1'2". Yep, we need to go just a little bit deeper. I probably went too deep this time. There we are, we're exactly 2 foot now. So that'll be where we leave it. I need to go cut me a post. You may wonder why I'm not mounting the service or mounting the meter to the side of the building. And here where I live, in the county I live in, you can have what you call a farm service. And that's what this is going to be. So it's not only going to be to service this building, it'll also be used for other things around the farm. And being that this is a mobile building, I guess you would say, there's a chance it may not always be here. And I didn't want the power service mounted to it. I wanted to have the power service separate from that building, just for that reason alone. This is the 6x6 I'll be using. I've had these laying out here for quite a while now because I had intentions of building building the sawmill shed, and these were going to be my posts. However, I guess as y'all figured, intentions have changed because we had the hay barn down there built. So I've been using these up for other things. Built the kids a swing set. Now I'm going to use them for this, and I'm actually going to have to use 2 of them down here at the barn as well to put posts on the back side so I can close that in. So even though they didn't go to what they were intended for, they're still going to good use. I'll tell you something else that people ask about a lot is this chainsaw right here. This is a DeWalt 60 volt flex volt battery powered chainsaw. I love it too. I think they actually have an upgraded version from that now, but that one has been a pretty good chainsaw for me for doing stuff like this right here. I definitely wouldn't want it to be my primary chainsaw, by no means. And it's not the chainsaw for big wood either. Not to say it won't cut big wood. However, battery life just doesn't last good when you're making big cuts. And speaking of things like that, because people ask a lot about this and that we're using, definitely not everything is listed, but a lot of the different items are listed on our website if you ever want to go check them out. That's truegrit.appalachianways.com. And you can also go on there and sign up for our newsletter, which I try to do weekly, but not always. I kind of go and share random thoughts that are going through my head at the time. And another benefit of the newsletter is if anybody is ever interested in what's going on here, I share a lot of that on there. But not only that, I think what we're going to do is people who are signed up for the newsletter, let's say we get another batch of coffee mugs in, y'all are going to be knowing before we make the big announcement. So that's another benefit, is you'll know things on there before you know them here on YouTube. And of course, you know us, we probably don't mention that near enough, just because, I don't know, we just don't like being salesy type people. But it is there if you're interested in it. Go check it out. So it's not perfectly lined up with the edge of the building like I was hoping for. Let's see if I can move it. No, I got a little better. But I guess that'll work. I'll throw a little bit of dirt in around it. Stay there. Don't move. Are you talking about something that'll dull a knife? That bag looks like it's almost set up. It is. Well, ain't that something? Well, darn. Like, evidently that's got wet. Perfect. Yeah, I know, you ain't supposed to use a level as a tamping rod. Are you serious? You mean you ain't gonna reach? I'm gonna tell y'all what. If it stayed weather like this right here long, this old boy'd have to go get his hair cut. I tend to let it get a little longer in the wintertime. Acts like insulation on top of my head. But I'm telling you, it wouldn't take much of this kind of weather right here, and I'd be going to get one cut and get it cut in a hurry. Let's see, did that stay level? No. Didn't stay level that way either. Alright, we're good. Maybe this one ain't set up like that other one. You wait till I see the old boy up here at the store next time. Tell him he's selling me concrete been set up. Right there it is, look there. Oh, well that busted up. I bet this one right here will bust up. Oh yeah. Add a little water. I'm sure that is definitely not how you're supposed to put concrete around a post. It's definitely not the correct amount of water you're supposed to add, but it's how I've always done them and it's always worked. If I was using this concrete like on a building foundation or something like that, we'd do it the right way. That should sit there and all that water will be soaked up by tomorrow. And I'll go get me some 2x6s. 2x6s. Now, challenge. Getting the other post same distance away from the building as that post and 4 foot from this post. Well, let's pull and see how bad I'm off. Alright, so 4 foot is directly in the center of that. Well, no, I got enough room for that post to sit right there, so it'll be 4 foot from outside to outside. And then we were 17 inches from the inside of the post to the building. So 17 inches. That's going to be the part that's going to be close. Hopefully I can make that work. Alright, just clean the loose dirt out of this hole. Make sure we got it deep enough. 2 foot. Alright. But it's not.
Well, y'all, I'm just going to start off by saying it has been one more afternoon. I've been having some issues with my internet. You know how that goes. Issues with the internet. Anyways, called the company because I've been giving it a few days, see if it will fix itself. You know, of course it did not. But I had all these plans that I was going to get done for my work afternoon here. I've got to take Jacob to his banjo lessons here in about 30 minutes. But I had all these plans. You know how it goes, you know. And anyways, that was just, I had it. I was done. The internet had made me restart it for the last time. Talked to this super nice, very helpful fellow on the phone. And if you're wondering, I'm making some sourdough flatbread to have with supper tonight. I'm very excited about this. I've never made flatbread. I've eaten flatbread plenty of times. I ain't never made any though. And I'm thinking for supper tonight, I might do some little flatbread pizzas. We're going to see. See what Mr. Lawson says about that. But I think it sounds good. Anyways, so I've got about a cup of sourdough discard right now in my bowl. And I'm going to do 2 cups of just regular plain flour. Talked to the little guy. Come to find out, funny story. Apparently I had a very outdated internet plan that he told me. And he said, I can get you a much faster plan for actually about $10 less than what I'm paying. And I said, well, sure, absolutely. That's what we need to, let's do that, you know, of course. Let's see, I need some milk. He said, now I'm going to send you an email, and when you get that email, you sign that paper. How much I need? A half a cup. Right there. You sign that, what I send you over the email, and your internet will be fast just instantly as soon as I get that back. Oh, that sounds great. Thank you so much. You know. So I get the email. I'm on my computer doing some work. Because if you don't know, I'm the one that does all the website stuff and all that, and working on some other things. And anyways, time consuming stuff, especially when you're not very good with technology, such as myself. I'm going to put about 1.5 teaspoons of salt in that. I send a little email back. Next thing I know, my internet quits. And I said, well, I'm going to have to go restart my box again. You know. Restart it. Actually, a couple times, it never came back. Followed it, couldn't figure it out. I said, my internet's quit. It's completely quit. So, yes, I am using store-bought milk right now. Waiting on Candy to calf. Well, I ended up calling the internet place back. I told them what had happened. And the lady, you know, did some troubleshooting with me. Tried 3 or 4 different things. I still have to have a technician come out in the morning to see what's wrong with the initial problem. But all of that has taken me almost an hour to deal with. So now it's almost time for me to go take Jacob to his lessons. And I feel like I ain't accomplished a thing. Luckily, this here flatbread has got to set for at least 2 hours. I ain't never made flatbread before. We're going to see how this goes. This is Farmhouse on Boone's recipe. A good friend of mine suggested that I try it. So that's what I'm doing here. I don't even know how dry or wet this dough is supposed to be. It seems a little dry to me, but maybe not. Alright. I've also got some sourdough bread that's working. My loaf bread, light bread. Those are what I've always heard it called growing up. I think some people call it sandwich bread, you know, but I've always called it loaf bread. Granny called it light bread. Are there any other names for sandwich bread? I don't know. Alright, flatbread, you're going to come over here. And so I thawed some jerky pieces out that we cut from that deer that we saved. I didn't make it all at once. I've had that marinating overnight, and I gotta get that in the dehydrator, so I may set the dehydrator over there. And I looked yesterday, instead of hunting my recipe card, I said I'll just look on the Bearded Butcher's website for their jerky recipe, because that's what I use is their recipe. Oh, roughly. I roughly go by it, you know, guideline. It's a guideline. And, anyways, it was not there anymore. So apparently they've taken that off their website. So in the description of this video, I will type up for you my jerky recipe. But I gotta get that in the dehydrator. We absolutely love deer jerky, and it makes such a good snack. I can never remember which way these things go. There we go. It does. It makes an excellent snack. So I just start getting it out piece by piece. And I lay them close on the dehydrator, but I don't want them touching each other. And if you're wondering what kind of dehydrator this is an Elite Gourmet. It's old, y'all. I have had this thing, oh gosh, I'd say 10 years. Maybe longer than that. I've had it a long time. I got it on sale somewhere. I don't even remember where now. And if it quits tomorrow, it's been a good one. But I wanted to wait till tomorrow when I get this jerky done. Don't let me down now. Now I won't let this run about 4 hours, and I'll go to checking it to see if we're done. Which some of these pieces are kind of thick, so it's probably going to take a little bit longer than that. Oh, the house going to be smelling good. Bread cooking, jerky going. Well, let's cut this thing on. I'm just going to let it go to town over here. There we go. Sounds a little rough these days, but it still does the job.
Perfect. And I even got it right that way. I just moved it, didn't I? We need to twist just a hair. Yep, I've got it so that the board's going to sit flush across there. Let me check for level one more time and we'll take some measurements. Perfect. 17 inches matches that one. We are at 47 3/4 inches from each other, and that means I can cut 4-foot boards and they'll hang over just a hair on each side. It'll be like 1/8 of an inch on each side. That'll be perfect. Well, there we go. I added a little more water to that one. It already soaked it all up. But I believe they're going to be just fine. So like I said, that'll sit there till that concrete firms up, which will, actually it'll probably be firm tomorrow, but I'll probably wait and go somewhere or another. We got some really cold weather coming very soon, and that's the day that I'll probably go out and run all my errands and get the boards that I need and all that good stuff, because I think it's still probably going to be a couple weeks before all of this is actually finalized anyway. So it's not like it's going to be done tomorrow. I just wanted to get the posts set there so they could be setting up and drying. Y'all may think I'm taking a little bit too much extra time to get everything perfect. And maybe I am, because it's literally just some posts that the meter box is going to sit on. But I like to have things right. And I have found that even on the littlest of stuff, if you skimp just a little bit, well, that becomes a habit. And so you start skimping on the bigger stuff. And so I try my best, especially when something like this is permanent. You know, it's different when you're working other things that are just temporary. But this is permanent. This will be here most likely the rest of my life. And I mean, I'll probably have to replace it. But y'all get what I'm saying. It's going to be here for a long time. And I want to make sure it's right, because I know I'll have to look at it the rest of my life. And if there's one little bitty imperfection about it, every time I walk by this thing or drive by it, I'll see it. And I'll be like, I knew I should have took time that day to fix it right. So, do it right the first time and you don't have to worry about that. So something else that I'm pretty excited about is with this new service, we're going to put a camper plug on it, and I'll have somewhere else to park my camper now instead of having it in the backyard in the driveway. I know a lot of people have reached out and said that having it under that oak tree probably wasn't the best place to park a camper. Well, you got to understand that's the only level place that we had in the whole area here where I had a plug-in and water that I could plug it up. So now I'm gonna have a new spot down there where there's absolutely nothing in the way. Should be perfect to set my camper up and park it and have power and all that stuff hooked to it. So I got a few minutes here. I've got to meet somebody here shortly. I was going to go down to the building, or down to the barn, and work on that, but I realized that I don't quite have enough time. So I thought I'd take care of this corn real quick. I've got my cornmeal corn in this bucket here, and then these two buckets are seed corn. You may wonder, well, what's the difference between cornmeal corn and seed corn? Because it all comes from the same corn. And it did. But the difference is the cornmeal corn was just random ears of corn. It didn't really, I didn't select those for any particular reason at all. They were just some good looking ears of corn. The seed corn, those two right there, had, which y'all saw us when we picked it, had something about them that I selected those ears for seed. Not necessarily saying that does any good or not, but I think it does. I selected, everything in these two buckets was hand selected for some certain type of trait that it carried on the plant. Whether it was the cob itself or the way the plant structure was, something about it is a reason. There's a reason I selected it for seed. Where this right here was just random ears of corn. Not saying these can't be used as seed, because they definitely could. It's just, with my little experiment that I've been conducting with this, each year I select the ears that are growing the way I want them to grow. So I hope that makes sense. Like I said, this right here could most definitely be used for seed. But we're going to label it as cornmeal corn. Now this will be going into the freezer. We'll leave it in the freezer for at least a few weeks, long enough to kill any weevils or anything that may be in it. But in all honesty, as long as there's room in that freezer, that's probably just where it'll stay until we need it. that's what I ended up with. I've got 4 gallon size bags of seed corn. Now you see these 3 here, they have some Boone County white corn mixed in with them. And then this bag is just pure my landrace mixture. Then I've got 2, 4, 4.5 gallon size bags of seed corn, corn for cornmeal. Now, by no means do I need that much seed corn. Honestly, one of those gallon size bags would be more than enough for me to plant. But it's nice to have backup, because here I am into it, like 4 or 5 years into making this landrace mixture. If something were to happen and I planted that whole gallon size bag, and then say we have some kind of terrible thing come through and wipe out my corn crop, or it's a drought, or it gets too much rain, you get the point. Well, then I've lost 4 or 5 years worth of work there, so I keep some on the backup.
Back again, back from banjo lessons, and now I've got to get my sourdough loaf in my loaf pan, and we're going to go ahead and make this flatbread. I thought it would be fun. I think we're all going to make our own individual little pizza to have for supper tonight. I've started making longer loaves than what you saw in the original sourdough video. They're a little whoppy-jawed, a little bit on each side. I've done some adjusting, hadn't found one I'm satisfied with for a bigger loaf, but I had a dear sweet friend of mine gift me this awesome bread pan. I've honestly never seen one like this, but it's a USA pan, it says, and it works great. So I want to grease this real good before I put my bread in it. Just grease it up with some lard is what I use. This is one thing I do love about the sourdough though, and I mean, probably all like this, but I love that I have a little flexibility. It's been rising now for a little over 6 hours, which is that's about as long as I want to go on this rise. But now, try to stretch it out a little. Just like that. Now I'm going to cover that up, and I'm going to let that continue to rise for at least 2 or 3 more hours. Before I get started on my flatbread, I have got some spaghetti sauce that I made a couple of years ago, and I'm still working my way through it. But whenever I make pizza, I try to remember to go down there and get it. Y'all see the problem? It's very thin. It's a lot thinner than we care to eat it. And so I'm going to let it simmer here while I'm getting my pizza ready to go, my bread ready to go, and it usually works out pretty good. And it'll be delicious, it's just a little too thin. Alright. So bigger than that if I want pizza. So I'm going to roll it out just as absolutely flat as I can. And to my understanding, we're going to put it on here. And let that go to town. We'll see. I don't know. Trust the process, I guess. it's actually turning into the texture of flatbread. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Sweet. Let's flip this one. Look at that. Oh, I'm so proud of it. Now, next question. Wonder how I'm supposed to know when it's done. Let it cook a little longer. I don't know the answer. This one's gotta be done. It's gotta be. That is pretty sweet right there. I must say. Little sneak peek, little taste test here. That is so good. That is so good. I should have made more. That's the only mistake I see is I should have made more, but I'm learning. That is so good. I cannot believe that. Oh my goodness. All right. So I've decided since we're only gonna have 4 little smaller pieces than I thought we were gonna have, we're just gonna have this with some potato chips. I ain't done that in a while for supper, but we're gonna do it tonight. Because I did not plan for them to be quite that small. So there's mine and Andy's pizza. The kids have already fixed theirs and they're in the oven. Mine's just pepperoni and Andy's got ham and beef and pepperonis and all kinds of stuff. Also, just remembered I've got pickled peppers that I am going to put on mine too. Well, they don't look too bad, do they?
No, they look pretty good.
Look at that.
They look good, don't
I
they?
know. I'm pretty tickled. I hope they are good. So that is sourdough flatbread that they're on.
Well, I know I tried the flatbread itself and it was good. I can only imagine this is going to be just as good or better.
Even if we have to eat potato chips with it.
Well, we're going to have something because that ain't enough. So I need a lot more of them cookies and potato chips
Oh my
and
gosh.
all kinds of stuff.
But I guess we're going to sit down and eat us a bite. I guess that's going to wrap up today's video. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hope I learned a little something. Till we see y'all in the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one. Well, I have to say, a little update here at the end of this video. The deer jerky's not quite done. I'll bake my bread probably about 8 o'clock tonight. Or 8:30. And the flatbread pizza was much more filling than it appeared. We all got full from it, and so that was actually the perfect size. That's definitely going to go on my try to keep made list, especially since it uses sourdough discard anyway. If you hadn't tried it, try it.